Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're live right now. Had a little bit of some technical difficulties here. We have got David Weiss on the way, and I might have messed him up a little bit because I can't figure out how to friggin' stream Zoom to restream. So I think I might have got it. So let us see here if I can get David in here. I think I can. I think I can. All right. David, where you at, man? David. All right, we're going to do that. We're going to send it this way. We send it that way. We'll see. See what happens here. Heck yeah. All right, now I got to go back to restream. Let's see. I'm going to check and see here real quick. Can you get in here, David? Yeah. Oh, we can go to chat. Oh, chat. What's up, chat? Oh, man. Not spinning geocentric for sure. Go get him, Dave. Thanks so much for doing this live. Shows honesty. I told you guys I would. I told you. I might have to call Dave. I think he's here. Hold on.
I'm here. I'm here.
What's up, man?
Hold on. Let me just get my camera turned on. I had to quickly change locations. 1 second. Where the hell's my camera? There it is. Boom. So we're live.
Dude,
what's up, man?
That was a rough one, man. But hey, guys, just to be completely clear, we're 16 minutes late because of me. So it's not because of him. Sorry, guys.
And there is a delay because I'm up on the international fake station, and no.
I'm not even gonna look at the restream part because it's gonna screw me up. Seeing that delay jacks me up. We'll answer some questions later, though. All right.
You can see me though, right?
I see you. Yeah. You got those shades on, man. Nice shades.
Yeah, thanks. It's very bright up here when you look out the windows at the sun. It's so close. It's right there at about 250.
David,
miles.
You told me, man. You told me not to look into flat Earth at all, dude. So I'm not gonna lie. I looked into it.
To be your flat Earth. You did. So welcome to flat Earth. Are we there?
I guess, man. I don't know where you're at. I think I know where I'm at.
Wow, we're done. Earth is flat. Thank you, everybody.
Bye. So I want to talk about this too, though, because here's how this came about. First and foremost, you have a small contingent of followers, and by followers I mean like fanatics. They love you, man, and they kept getting on my my stream, and they were just begging me to talk to you. And every single time they brought up flat Earth, man, I was just slamming them. Now I pick on everybody in my community. We're like, you got to talk to this Dave Weiss guy, blah 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 blah. So finally we made it happen, man.
Oops, there we go. I'm just sorry about that. Yeah, listen, by the way, and if anyone, any flat earthers out of here, Brandon's a good guy. He's super smart. He's smarter than I am. So he's going to get this, right? And we were all there. We were all you.
Now you're an OG HEXICAN, right?
I am. I heard you say that you've been buying the dip to lower your average cost. Well, the dip is going to raise my average cost. So I'm tempted, I'm not tempted to buy as much, but I am liking this dip for anybody that's trying to get into Hex.
Well, I think that's pretty important, man, because I think people are going to be watching this. They're all flat Earth, this, whatever. But then, like OG HEXICAN, are you like a day one type of guy? Uh-oh, missing you.
You're back. Let me just check my internet feed real quick.
Yeah, check your internet.
I'm good. Yeah. 1 second. What is going on there? Talk while I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
But he is he's a day one. I think he's a day one. I think you got in way early, and you wear that decentralized shirt quite a bit, don't you?
I do sometimes. Hey, listen, my internet sucks right now. Let me jump out, talk to people,
Yeah.
and let me come back in. I got to get my internet.
No problem.
I'll be right back. It's me.
All right, let me look at these comments. All right. Now it's gonna be a little bit different because I can't highlight these damn things. Let's see here. Davis gave me $100. Dave Weiss is the man with integrity, not me. Flat Earth has been exploding. Wes FE. Mark Rizzo, we going balls deep on flat Earth. I guess so, man. You guys are really excited. I'm curious, like, why are you so excited? Have you seen these slaughters before? I need a flat Earth definition. Awesome, Austin. Picture of a boat on the sea. I kind of see what you're saying there. Get ready to be mind screwed, Chuck Whitman. Tribal sounds, bro. Flat Earth found me, then I found Dave. Ramon Carrillo took me 2 years. Awesome, Austin. LOL. Tribal sounds so hype right now. Flat gang. Awesome, Austin. God dang, man. Where's my people at? Dude's wearing shades inside. I guess so. So Dave, if you guys just joined, Dave is going to come back on. His internet's a little bit screwy right now. So he's going to come back on in just a minute. I just got that damn fiber. It's dependable. I love fiber. I love it. Awesome, Austin. Chainsaw Cat and Kelly D. Wilson. It's flat. Chainsaw Cat. Brandon seems like a cool dude. I'm not a cool dude, and I'm not worth listening to. I assure you. You will be flat Earth after talking to Dave Weiss. Here's what I got to say, guys. Let me tell you who I am. I'm the type of person that will listen to anything, and I want to know the truth, and I'm going to assume that he's going to tell me a whole lot of things that don't make sense, and it's going to cause me to look into it. I'm well prepared for that. Like, that's going to happen, and that's okay. That's what I want. And I tell everybody right now, like, I want anybody on this stream. I want to talk to anybody. Let's see what Dave says. Make sure, see if this link still works. Okay. Okay, cool. David emailed me earlier, like an hour ago. He said, Brandon, looking forward to your flat Earth birthday. Oh, gosh. Okay. All right. Celebrate the truth. Nice, bro. Balliet Brand, my man. Thanks for coming on. DHEX 6961. Do not smash the like, people. Okay. The Wes FE, the legendary Junicorn. Wow. The Earth is flat and stationary, no curve. Joshua Barnes, flat. Marion M. I don't want to butcher your name. I do, but I have a little respect. Ramon Carrillo, flat Earth means that you understand the Earth is not a spinning ball jetting through space. Okay. Team Gas, because when you wake up, everything about your life changes. Man, everybody's making some pretty lofty claims right now. Apparently, my life is going to significantly change. That's what you guys are trying to say. Tell us about you. All right. Well, I guess there are a lot of people in here. So I run a channel called Rags to Riches. Let me see this. I'm not even gonna screw with this, man. I guess I'm going through Zoom, so I'm not gonna jack it up. But Rags to Riches, and I talk about crypto. I talk about communism. I talk about socialism. I talk about things that happen in our world. I talk about things I want to talk about, and if people like what I'm talking about, cool. If they don't, that's fine too. I've done reaction videos to rap videos. I just chop it up, man. I did a live stream with Justice Hill. He's the running back for the Baltimore Ravens. That was pretty interesting. And actually, we're going to have another one here pretty soon, because beginning of December with him. just to catch up and see how he's doing. Diligence, humility. I am not a fanatic. From what I heard of flat Earth and started to investigate, it went 2 years before I realized that it's flat. It's a hard one to swallow. Yeah, it is. Now, I was what's called an aerographer's mate in the Navy. So we did a lot of navigation. We did a lot of we did weather balloons. It was meteorology, I guess, weather observer. So we did a lot of that stuff in the Navy. So I'd be interested to bring up some topics that I have questions about there based on my actual firsthand experience and research. Davis, $20. Davis says, remember, Brandon, I personally planted the flat Earth seed. And now David Weiss will water it. Dude, you have paid me so much money. And finally you get your way. Did you think I was going to do it, Davis? Did you really think? Flat Earth people are all Earth people. Oh, God. Oh, God. That sounds a little bit too close to what we're dealing with. All right. Zechariah Williams, read the first page of the Bible. 200 plus verses support a geocentric stationary plane. You know, I thought about that, but he told me not to look into it. He told me not to look into anything. He's going to blow my mind. So I didn't look into anything. That's the bottom line. All right, let's see. Rebooting systems. All right. He just said that he's going to be rebooting his systems. He should be here in about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, no problem. I'm going to send him another link here real quick. And we should be good. Link. Where's this link? God, dude, my mind is completely blown right now. Not from flat Earth, by the way. It's because I'm going through my system into Zoom, into Restream, out to Twitter and YouTube, and my first time doing it. There he is, I think he's back. We're about to find out. All right, let's do some more here. The truth resonates with all your senses simultaneously. Flat, plain, Oregon. Wow. Love the shades. Yeah, dude, these shades. Come on now. It's all me. It's what we do. Australia isn't real. Flat Earth. That's from Runeskis. My man Runeskis. All right. Let's see what else we got. Rob Kiln, 5CAD. Check out the channel Try Thinking. Cool. Thanks, Rob.
Fine. There we go.
Oh, dude, what's up, man?
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
Get rebooted here. Something happened. My Wi-Fi went down. I must have lost satellite coverage or something.
Oh, that's not good.
Making a flat Earth joke.
I'll be getting a lot of those, I'm sure.
No, today I'm going to point towards a lot of doors that you didn't realize were there, and we're going to have an interesting conversation. And then at the end of this, you're going to realize that you, like the rest of us, were all brainwashed into believing something that we've never were shown any proof to.
All right.
So, where do you want to start is my question, because there's so many places. Is there's something that's burning on your mind? Do you even understand what the flat Earth model is? And by the way, I'm not talking down to you at all. Anything I ask you today, I didn't know the answer to when I first learned about this. And I thought it was the dumbest crap ever. Banned people from my social media for life for even suggesting that I look at a flat Earth video, because that's got to be the dumbest crap ever.
Well, let me tell you where I'm coming from. I want to know what you know. That's the bottom line. And I'm open to it. I want you to talk to me about it. I'm going to ask you questions. We'll just feed off each other. And I just want you to tell me, because I don't know shit about it.
And at the end, I'm going to put it together and show you why flat Earth and cryptocurrency are brother and sister. This is, the money system and the globe lie are how they've imprisoned us in this world.
Okay.
So once we put that together, you'll really start seeing. So what is the flat Earth? If you Google flat Earth, Google's going to feed you all nonsense. It's going to feed you the Flat Earth Society. We're not the Flat Earth Society. We don't think we're a disk in space like this. No flat earther thinks that. You go to the Flat Earth Society, it says the flat earthers believe that the Earth is rising at 9.8 meters per second. No flat earther believes that. Nobody. Not even nobody. There's no flat earthers that believe that. We're not a disk in space with other round planets, with other disk planets. We're not in space at all. Okay, so you have to get that entire space travel, Star Wars, Star Trek, everything that we were brought up on, everything that we loved. I'm sure you love space movies, right?
Sure.
We all did. I'm going to replace it with something else. So don't worry. I'm going to take your ball away. I'm going to remove all the space movies from you, but I'm going to give you something better, something more interesting, something that actually works. So what is flat Earth? I always start off with this image right here. This is, we're like a pond. Think about this, a puddle, a pond, a lake, just different size bodies of water at rest. And what holds them together? They all have a container. The edge of a pond is where the land is higher than the water all the way around. And to prove that, you can lower the land on one side and the water will just flow out. It'll seek its ultimate base level, right? So the world is like a giant pond. All of the continents and islands are surrounded by water, but all of the water is surrounded by higher land. Okay, Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. If you look, they tell you Antarctica is this island at the continent at the bottom of a ball, and it is the highest land on Earth. But that's not the way it is at all. Antarctica is the land that surrounds our world pond. I call it our world lake, and large bodies of water at rest lay flat. Okay, and now this is something that we can actually prove. So, do you know how the circumference of the Earth is? Probably not. I didn't.
24,000.
Look at you, 24,901 to be exact. That's what they say. And at that size, that would dictate that a 6 foot tall person standing at the edge of the water should see a physical horizon no farther than 3 miles away. Because at 3 miles, the drop is 6 feet, according to globe math, not flat Earth math, globe math. Okay. So you shouldn't be able to see any farther than that. It's like this hallway here. If I walked around that hallway, you wouldn't be able to see me anymore because I'd be gone. And no telescope would be able to zoom me back in because I'd be behind a physical, let's flip this over. I'd be behind a physical horizon. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But we can see too far with our naked eye. Like I can go down to my beach. I can see underneath the Whitestone Bridge in New York. I'm in Connecticut. Okay, it's 25 miles away. I shouldn't be able to see the tops of the stanchions, let alone underneath the bridge, but I can see it all. And then our super zoom cameras have made it so, guess what? We can see that boats don't go over the horizon. Look, you don't see a boat here for several reasons. One, its angular size is too small. Here's the boat. I'm zooming in. I'm making its angular size bigger. And these little waves in the foreground, they're bigger because they're closer to you. So they make the boat disappear from the bottom up. Watch this boat disappear from the bottom up. Zooming out is the same as the boat just going away. Look, it looks like it's going over the curve, but it's just going out of our angular view. Interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what got me into flat Earth. When I started looking into it, I started seeing all these videos of things that disappear over the horizon, but you can zoom in and bring them back in again. You can zoom in. And so I did the math. I bought a Nikon P900 super zoom camera, which is better than most telescopes these days. And you can zoom in and there they are. So the radius of the Earth from the center of the Earth to the surface of the Earth is just short of 4,000 miles. So this would be the curve, the curve of the Earth with a radius just about 4,000 miles. We can see things that would require a radius of over 250,000 miles.
And we shouldn't be able to.
Well, if we were on a ball, the ball would have to be 250,000 miles to see as far as we're able to see.
Right.
Okay. Versus 4,000.
Okay.
That's a little bit of a difference. Little bit. That's like hex being 12 cents or $500.
Right.
Trying to put it in terms that maybe you can relate to.
Right.
Are you listening into one of your streams? By the way, the Trailer Park Boys are flat earthers, just in case you didn't know.
Don't do that to me, man.
They are.
Don't do that to me, David.
Google Trailer Park Boys flat Earth, and you'll
all
see.
of them are just bubbles.
I think. Well, at least two of them. At least two of them. All right.
Friggin' Nova Scotia. Yeah.
But here's the thing, Brandon. You know that that we're being lied to about everything. You know, all the deception in the world. This is the one that matters. Why does flat Earth matter? What difference does the shape of the Earth make? I still have to go to work. It's because it's limiting your ability to understand where you are. It's limiting your understanding of how powerful you are. It's limiting the knowledge of what this place is, and you know, and your role here. So we'll get into that more in a bit. But you had mentioned that these flat earthers, this is a common argument. No matter what you show them, they'll never believe it. You said if you put a balloon up 5 million miles, what'd you say?
Yeah. What did I see? I don't remember. But if you put a balloon up, even if there was curvature, the argument is it's a some type of telephoto lens, whatever the case may be.
A fisheye lens.
Fisheye lens, yeah.
Yeah. So one, you can't get a balloon up that high. So it's like, you know, what if I put you in a cartoon with Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner? Would you survive? That's a stupid question, right?
All right.
Right. So we can't get up that high. NASA can't get up that high. So it's kind of just a ridiculous argument. And then you said, well, what about Elon? Let me ask you a question. Did you actually watch the Elon Musk launch of his Tesla in space?
I actually did watch it.
You did?
I got some crazy stuff to show you, actually. I'll show you something crazy.
I'm excited.
I got a UFO on there, by the way.
Well, again, what if it was none of it's real? So what, you have an unidentified object in something that's not even real. I'm just trying to find I have a quick little video of Elon. So when they unveiled the car, right? In the vacuum of space. First, you said you have some military experience. How do you have a tire in a vacuum without it exploding?
Right.
They did no modifications on that car whatsoever. Okay. Oh, here we go. And when they showed this shot of the Earth, they weren't even as high as the International Fake Station. And the International Fake Station, they don't ever see the curve of the Earth. Okay. And we see this, and then we watch under the wheel here. What kind of car is that where you can see right through the wheel? They said there's no modifications on this car. Mm-hmm. There's so many glitches in this thing. There's so many videos showing the glitches, but YouTube is hiding them all. And this whole reflection thing, it's all just nonsense. It's nonsense. And now, like, what proof do I have that this is fake? Look at it. That's the proof. Okay.
Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, when I first saw it, I'm like, how the hell could they have possibly pulled that off? That went through my head for sure. If you're going to do that, how about throw a logo on there? How about a little brand recognition, right? And check this out. Coolest thing ever. Don't you think every Tesla showroom in the world should have a poster of this, right? The shot right with the Earth behind it, like ready, right? Boom. That should be in every Tesla showroom. It's not in any Tesla showroom. It's not on a postcard. It's not in any magazine covers, Time Magazine, National Geographic, Space Magazine, Omni. No one covered it because it's so ridiculous. They're embarrassed, right? That would be everywhere. It would be in every ad. Nothing. Zero. Right? And Elon Musk said in the press conference, you can tell it's real because it looks so fake. We'd have better CGI. That is a quote from the liar known as Elon Musk. So let me ask you something. If I have questions, like I don't want to if you have a presentation.
No. I have no presentation. Hit me with the questions.
I didn't know if you did. I don't want to jack that up.
And in the chat, my trolls are here. So there's trolls that show up in all of my videos. They have nothing on their channel. They ask the same stupid questions. So
hey, I don't care. I love it. Bring them on. This is a channel for degenerates. We all are degenerates.
Right.
All right. So let's start here. At what point in time did the government take control of this narrative?
So we're told in school that we've known the Earth is flat for over 2,000 years when Eratosthenes back in ancient Greece figured it out with his sticks and shadows experiment. Are you familiar with that?
Very vaguely. Go ahead and talk to me about it.
So they said Aristophanes noticed on a certain day of the year that the sun was directly over a well, and he could
Oh,
see
yeah.
the shadow in the bottom of the well, the sun reflection. So he got a stick and held it upright, and there's no shadow. And then he sent his buddy 500 miles away, who counted the paces. That's how he knew he was 500 miles away. And he had a stick up at the same day at the same time, and there was no shadow. And because the sun is 93 million miles away, we'll get into how that ever came. The rays are coming in direct, right? Of course. Right. He assumed rays are coming in direct when nobody has ever seen rays coming in parallel. They always come in corpuscular like these. Okay.
Right.
So ignoring that, somehow he says the rays are parallel. So here's Aristophanes, no shadow. Here's his buddy 500 miles away. Shadow measures the length of the shadow, the angle, does some perfectly good math, and figures out the sphericity of this ball. And Carl Sagan showed us in Cosmos how it could only work on a curved surface, and just brainwashed everybody with that. Okay. Great. The math is good, and he's right. If we were on a ball,
it doesn't make sense, right? I mean, well, I get what you're saying.
It does, but here's Aristophanes with our small local sun, like we have in the flat Earth. No shadow. Shadow does the same math, same angle, same shadow length.
Right.
And so, does Aristophanes prove that the Earth is flat? I'll give it a wash. No, it doesn't prove either. It works on both.
It does not. I agree.
But look at the rays of the sun coming in. They don't come in parallel. That's a problem. That's seriously a problem. Okay. There's no parallel rays, but they just assume they're parallel. Right?
So when you say parallel rays, what do you mean? You say parallel to the surface of whatever.
So the sun is so far away that all of the rays are coming in straight. They say all of the rays hit the Earth almost exactly parallel to each other because the sun is so far away.
Right.
But when you have a local light, it spreads out.
Right.
It spreads out, a local light. Okay. So go ahead. You have another question?
I mean, I could drill down into that. I mean,
right.
So talk to me about the atmosphere, because that's important in all of this.
Yeah. Well, let's get to, let me show you something else first. So we are told that we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. We're orbiting the sun at, do you know the number?
Orbiting? No, 50,000.
We're orbiting 66,600 miles an hour. Funny number, right? They have all these sixes, the 666s everywhere in the heliocentric satanic model. So we're orbiting at 66,000 miles an hour, and we're chasing the sun at over close to 500,000 miles an hour. Some say lower, some say more, whatever it is, 500,000 miles per hour. So can you activate screen sharing for me real quick?
Yes. Let me see if I can share screen. Advanced sharing options.
Allow
all participants.
Yeah, there you go.
All participants.
All right. So I'm gonna just show you. This is called the hypersonic sled track. If I can find my share button, where is it? There it is. So this is the hypersonic sled track, and it's gonna go by at Mach 8.6.
Okay.
Pretty fast, right?
Yeah.
So we are orbiting the sun 10 times faster than this. Okay. We are chasing the sun at 90 to 100 times faster than that. All right. And these aren't straight trajectories. These are curved paths, speeding up and slowing down. So we're going 10 times faster and 100 times faster in two different directions. But then we look at nature, and nature tells us another story. Okay. Does this look like its container is moving at those speeds?
No.
Are you sure?
No.
Don't you want to say gravity?
No, like in my mind, I'll just talk out loud.
Yeah.
If I'm on a bus and the bus accelerates, everything inside that bus accelerates until it stops accelerating. It's at a constant speed. So is the sun accelerating through the universe, or is the sun at a constant speed through the universe?
So the sun is going, and we are circling around the sun. First, we're circling this way around the sun. We're also spinning while we're circling. And then we're also chasing the sun on its curved path. All of them are curved paths. So let's say you're in a car on a perfectly smooth, straight road. You're going 100 miles an hour and you get a dinner plate and you fill it with water. Maybe you could hold it if you get really steady. But if that car accelerates, brakes the tiniest bit or turns the tiniest bit, that water is going to slosh. This water is not sloshing. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm thinking about, I'm just thinking about gravity. I'm thinking about that. There's no wind resistance in space. There's nothing to slow us down or change that. I mean, if you do go around a circle, you accelerate as you're going around that circle in an orbit.
Yeah. And they say that we speed up around the sun and slow down and speed up and slow down. And when you're rotating towards the direction you're going that speed plus 1,000 miles an hour.
Right.
And then when you come underneath, you're going that speed minus 1,000 miles an hour. So, Brandon, use your senses. Are you moving? Yeah, it might be spinning right now, but before this show, you're not moving at all. And if you look at the if you listen to what they tell us the heliocentric model is doing, we're going 4.5. Wait. How many billion miles a year are we going? We're going like 4 or 5 billion. I forget the number. I just spaced out a number.
Yeah.
We're going like 4 billion miles a year. Okay. 4 billion miles a year. Are you familiar with the Georgia Guidestones?
Yes. I watched Ancient Aliens. I think they talked about this.
Yeah. So the Georgia Guidestones, besides having the New World Order marching orders on there, which is not what we're talking about here, they were built in Georgia in 1981.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, we're doing all of these motions. This little hole right here, if you look through it, you see the star Polaris, which is our North Star. Okay. And it never moves from there. Now, if you do a long time lapse of Polaris, it makes a tiny little circle, but it always stays in the same spot in the sky.
Sure.
All the other stars go around it. How can we be moving in 3 different directions at once, traveling billions of miles, where all of the other stars, like bees in a beehive, are moving in all their directions, but the stars never change? Go out tonight, make a little star chart, mark the time, set your alarm for next year, same day, same time, and then go out and look at the stars. They'll be in the exact same position.
Yeah, that is kind of funky.
Kind of funky.
Yeah. So I'm going through my Rolodex right now. So if the theory that common science holds, how the universe is expanding. So in my head, one of two things. Maybe in terms of perception, how long it's been, maybe 2,000 years isn't long enough to see a significant shift if we're all expanding outwards from the same point. So maybe we'd have to go out 10,000 years to see that difference, or even more. But hundreds of years or decades or centuries may not be enough.
The pyramids have shafts that point.
Yeah.
The pyramids have shafts that point at the North Star also, and they haven't moved. Okay. And they were built a little longer ago than this. Probably not as long as they told us, but they, there is no motion. I don't think that we can keep those stars in line for 5 minutes, let alone 500 years or whatever. It doesn't make any sense. The other problem is when you start thinking about the size and brightness of things. Now, if I held a light right in your eyes, a flashlight right in your eyes, it has a certain brightness to it. As I pull it away, right, all of that light will be right in your eye, right? Bam, right in your eye.
Right.
But if I pulled it 10 feet away, that light's going to spread out.
Correct.
And it's going to cover a big area. So you're only getting a fraction of that brightness. That's called the inverse square law of light.
Okay.
So as light goes out, every time you double the distance, it's 1/4 of the brightness. Okay. So if you think about the heliocentric model of the size that they tell us the Earth is and the size that they tell us the sun is one of those big gym yoga balls, and the Earth is a marble or a BB, right? Okay. So imagine if I brought the sun right next to, just above the clouds, just for a demonstration. So you look up, it fills the entire sky
All
horizon.
sun.
It's all sun everywhere, horizon. Now, here's the sun. Boom. I move it away 93 million miles, and it becomes the size of a coin held at arm's length.
Right.
Why is it smaller? Because
further distance.
Perspective. It got smaller because of perspective. Right? So it is scientifically provable that its angular size, just like that boat, angular size got so small that if we made it 5 times farther, you couldn't see it. It's too small. Okay?
Okay.
So let's make it 24 times farther. It's definitely too small to see. Right? So then we look at Polaris. Yeah, Polaris. They say Polaris is 46, 48 times bigger than the sun. Right? So the sun at 24 times farther is 3 light hours. Okay? Because the sun's 8 minutes away. 24 times 8, 3 light hours, if I'm doing my math right. Polaris is 48 times bigger. So that's 2 days times 3 hours, 6 light days. If Polaris was 6 light days away, it's scientifically provable that we couldn't see it, ignoring the inverse square law problem where its light would just be so dispersed you wouldn't be able to see it. At 6 light days, you can't see it. And they tell us it's 433 light years away.
Polaris is
433 light years away. We can see it with our naked eye. It never moves. And it's bright as crap, right? Okay. Now let's look at something even closer, but still too far away. They tell us this is Jupiter.
Right.
You got clouds going in different directions, right? If you were on Jupiter, the sun is no longer the size of a coin held at arm's length because you're much farther away from it. The sun is tiny. The sun is like a star. So have you gone out and seen Jupiter recently? It's been up in the night sky.
Very bright.
It's very bright. So that little dim sun, that dim little star of a sun is lighting up this gaseous, I would call it not very reflective planet. And then that inverse square law of light is just coming to your eye and it's brighter than any star in the sky. This is nonsense. This is utter, complete and total brainwashing nonsense that nobody ever thinks about. But now that you're thinking about it, it makes no sense. It's scientifically provable that what you're seeing is a light and it's very close to us. It's here within the Earth system.
Referring to the sun, it is here close to us. Is that what you're saying?
The sun, stars, and moon, all of them are here within the Earth system.
What do you mean by Earth system?
So the way I describe it is the Earth is the foundation of everything that we know. It's the foundation of our world. What's underneath the Earth? Well, what's inside the ball? We don't know. Okay. And everything that we see in the sky rotates above us. Okay. So we're here this is the foundation of the world. The sun circles around, melts out this pond. This ice wall is just the shoreline of our world, and everything beyond it is Antarctica. Okay. So maybe we look at it this way, looking down. Here's our world. Here's our sun, and it melts out this pond, and all of this is Antarctica. What's out there? We don't know because it's off limits, right? Nobody is allowed to go beyond 60 degrees south, except if you buy a vacation. It'll cost you $20,000, $50,000, whatever. You go for 3 days. They bring you here. They show you penguins. They show you some ice, and then they kick you out. No one's allowed to independently explore out here.
Why? What do they say?
Well, they say, whether the story is true or not about Admiral Byrd in the 1940s and 50s, he went out there and they were exploring Antarctica. And he said he saw land beyond the poles. That's a problem on a ball that is bigger than the United States, filled with resources that no human has ever stepped foot upon.
Was that like in his diary, or is that like a naval? Was he a naval guy?
He was a naval guy, naval guy. And he went on CBS or ABC News. Okay. Just look up Admiral Byrd. Yeah. And he talked about this, and then he was silenced, and then he died quickly after that. Interesting. And then they put in the Antarctic Treaty. The Antarctic Treaty says, and a dozen countries signed on immediately, and now all the countries in the world have signed on. And the Antarctic Treaty says nobody, this is since 1959, is allowed to explore Antarctica under any conditions. No corporation, no person, nobody. And you can't even question the treaty until the year 2041. Now, Brandon, no treaty has ever lasted that long. This treaty comes into place when we're having wars for resources and power and everything, and we discovered land that we won't have to displace anybody on. Won't have to do anything, filled with resources. He said there's coal, uranium, oil, and no one questions this. It's the only treaty that has lasted the test of time. And if you try to go to Antarctica, you will be stopped by force.
So if we could go to Antarctica, we could definitely prove or disprove this whole conversation.
Well, here's the simplest way. Here's the simplest way they can prove the Earth is flat. One day they can end this. By the way, we've tried to get Neil deGrasse Tyson, the actor, Bill Nye, the lion guy with the bow tie, try to get any of these guys to debate us, and they won't, because they'll get destroyed by a dummy like me. Okay, I'm teaching Flat Earth 101 here. There's so many people that know more than I know, but I'm introing you to the basics. So they're like, we don't have time for flat earthers, but then they do show after show after show mocking flat earthers. They spend all of this time, and then they're also reacting. Every time we expose one of their lies, they move the globe post farther and they change it. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson goes, Felix Baumgarten, he said he saw the curve. He can't see the curve. That stuff is flat, he said. That stuff is flat. Look up Neil deGrasse Tyson. That stuff is flat. Okay, so here's how you prove it.
Oh, yeah. I think he was on a podcast or something, right?
Yeah. Well, no,
I heard him say that.
He was doing a show, and a lot of podcasts play it. But again,
there's no way he could have seen it from that altitude. He'd have to be like 15 or 20 times further away to see the curve or something. Or 100 times.
That's what they say, but nobody, no one has ever seen it. And you were talking before about GoPro cameras. They did two space jumps before, limit of space, whatever they call. 3 test jumps before the one that was televised, and those ones were done with regular cameras, and it showed a flat Earth. This time they used GoPro cameras, and look, you could see the curve of the Earth. Okay, now here's something funny. He went up to I think 127,000 feet.
Mm-hmm.
They lost communications with him. They couldn't talk. They couldn't radio from the ground to 127,000 feet. But Nixon can call the guys on the moon and talk in real time. That's a whole nother story. Okay. He said he saw the curve. Now, is he a liar, or did he see the curve? Well, he's wearing a rounded glass head, helmet, which he'll see the curve standing on the ground. So either he thought he was going to see the curve and he saw the curve through that, or he's a liar. Either one, I don't care. But if you analyze this picture and zoom in on these rivers and stuff, okay, this is all New Mexico. All of this is New Mexico. So New Mexico is either a quarter of the planet, or this is a fisheye lens. I'm not saying this is fake. I'm saying those are your options. Okay. So this is planet New Mexico. This proves that it's not a shot. This is from almost the same height. This video. The Earth is flat and stationary. Here's the other thing. He went up. Took him 3.5 hours before he jumped. The Earth is spinning to the east at 1,000 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
He landed. He should have landed 3,000 miles out in the ocean, maybe out west, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he landed east of where he took off from. So
and
somehow
he took off. How did he take off? He took off just via balloon straight up, right?
Balloon straight up. So he's unattached from the spinning Earth, getting up into thinner and thinner air, and somehow he accelerated to outrun the spin of the Earth.
That's a good point. That's interesting. Like the other part about New Mexico, like that point, like Neil deGrasse Tyson said the same thing you just did. Like there's no way. You'd have to be much further.
You know why he said it? Because we exposed it, so they had to own it, so it didn't look like we were owning it. Like we exposed them. They had to, but I say move the globe post.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Neil deGrasse Tyson said, there was some Super Bowl game that was won by the spin of the Earth, where it bounced off the field goal, bounced off the bleacher, it bounced in, and he goes, and that's because the Earth was spinning. He did some calculations. So a football is affected by the imaginary Coriolis effect, but a balloon is not. Okay,
right?
These guys, when you see this, Brandon, they're so dumb, right? Flat globe Earth is the dumbest thing ever. I have 100 Bitcoin offer for anything dumber than the spinning globe. Anything, anything. Okay. There's nothing dumber.
So what is our okay? So what is it? Is it a half a globe? Is it like a snow globe? What is this thing?
We'll get into that. Let me get
All right.
so is there so the question is there a dome? Is there not a dome? I don't know. I think there's a dome, some sort of hard fixed barrier. Don't know what it is. Again, anything that's higher than we can reach or beyond the shoreline of Antarctica that we talk about today is speculation. We don't need to go beyond the shorelines of Antarctica or where we can't reach to prove the Earth is not a globe, right? We can do that all here, things that we can measure. So here's how, and this is a call out to all science professors, millionaires, anybody that wants to do this, and it's not even that expensive. Get 2 airplanes. Go, we all meet in Santiago, have a nice dinner, pasta, whatever, and then we fly over to Antarctica. We refuel here, and we get 1 plane filled with flat earthers, globe earthers, scientists, everybody, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and it just flies about 1,000 feet off the ground so we can see the ground and just follows the shoreline. Follow the shoreline. Same time, we send another airplane here. This way we can verify that we're following the shoreline. We can verify the speed that we're going because you can see the ground and understand, I'm going to average speed of an airplane, 500 miles an hour. And 7,000 miles later, both planes are going to meet over here. Boom, you just proved this is about 13,000 miles around. Okay. But that's not how the Earth is set up. And the last person to try to circumnavigate Antarctica properly, now there's a sailboat race, but that's a whole nother thing. The last person was Captain Cook, and it took him 3.5 years. He went over 60,000 miles. Now, if the equator, what happened to my camera here? What happened here?
It's going to go to the brightest point.
There we go. Look, I'm the brightest point. So the equator is 24,000 miles around. It gets smaller, not bigger. 24, and then down here is 60. That's a flat Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what about Amelia Earhart? All she did was fly around here. Boom, 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 boom. Even if it was a true story or not, this is all she did. Let's just talk about circumnavigation real quick. This is how the flat Earth works. The center of the Earth is a magnetic force, whether it's a magnetic mountain or just something that's magnetic.
True north is actually the middle. That's what you're saying.
Is the middle. So look, I'm trying to push this compass west. And look, this compass needle has to always point to the center. So west is a circle. Mm-hmm. West is not a straight line. If I try to go east, I have to keep turning. Now, this does not prove the Earth is flat or globe because it's the same on both. Okay? On a globe, it's the same. On flat Earth, it's the same. But now if I try to dead reckon and I do not correct to the north, I'm going to try to dead reckon west. If I don't correct to the north, boom, I'm heading south.
Right.
South is every direction away from the center. Every way, every direction, every straight line is south. Wow, that's crazy. Wait a minute. If I point west, nope, you're pointing south. If I point south, I'm pointing south. If I point east, I'm pointing south. If I go south, I will just go away. If the Earth was a ball, I should pop up over here. But no one's ever gone south, circumnavigated, and made it come out the bottom. Now I'm going north, I'm going north, and as soon as I pass the North Pole, I'm heading south. The compass just did a 180. I'm heading south. And that's it. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, somebody, it was called the ZQ pilot, tried to go for the Guinness Book of World Records a few years ago, traveling, first person to circumnavigate south north. And if I could find the graphic, he went from the North Pole. Where the heck is it? He went from the North Pole. He went down and went to, if I could find the graphic, it'd be a lot better.
Look, let me ask you a question while you find that graphic.
Go ahead.
Quick.
Go ahead.
All right. So there's no such thing as the equator with
the equator is just a line midpoint between the center and the outside.
So, okay. So the whole, when water spins differently.
It doesn't. That's a myth. In Australia, they don't spin in different directions. That whole thing at the equator where the guys are scamming people. Yeah. That's all nonsense. It's just the way they pour the water into the basin.
So that is not okay.
That's not a thing.
What about this? What about how come hurricanes spin cyclonically or anticyclonically depending on whether you're north or south of the equator? Any idea there?
Yeah, good question. So let me bring up my my app here for a second, and then I can demonstrate that. Um, so I created an app that basically helps people learn about flat Earth because of all the censorship. It's super difficult to find anything. Where is? Hold on, I have to. Where the heck did it go? I got to share. Time file movie recording. See if that works.
What is the app? Is it on the App Store?
Yeah, it's called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Let me just. I'll bring up a little
I'm
thing
gonna check it out.
so you can find it. You can just scan, point it right there. It's $3, and you don't need to subscribe when the subscribe thing comes up. You don't need to subscribe. But let me just. I have to quick time for a second. Quick time. So just like when you push a paddle through water, or push your hand through a body of water, you'll see counter rotating vortices
On each side, right?
on each side. So the sun and the moon travel in a circle over the flat Earth in between the two tropics, basically near the equator, a little bit in, a little bit out, and they cause a electromagnetic wake. Now, sometimes when a spinning storm in the south comes up towards the equator, if the sun and the moon aren't there, it will cross the equator and spin the wrong direction on the other side, which completely negates, in my opinion, the spinning, the spinning explanation.
Okay. So you're saying that the wake is formed north and south of each one of those two bodies. The wake will be a different direction on the north than it would be the south.
It would be correct. So,
and that's why. So the equator has nothing to do with the landmass, and it has actually everything to do with the sun and the moon.
Absolutely. So let's go over this. This is gonna be interesting. Why is my camera doing that? Hello, bam. There you go. All right. So here's the flat Earth. Looking on the flat Earth, and by the way, our map is not perfect. It's way better than the globe map, which is way off. Wherever the sun is, that's where it's noon. So right now it's noon in Africa. Okay. So wherever the sun is, it's noon. And the sun goes around and it migrates in between these two yellow lines. On June 21st, it's over the inner one. That's where are you located, Brendan?
East Coast.
East
US.
Coast. Whereabouts?
Yep.
I'm in Connecticut.
Virginia.
All right. You just missed our Flattoberfest conference down in South Carolina. Okay. So and June 21st, it's over the inner one. So let me just move it to June. March, April, May, June. So in June, the sun is over the Tropic of Cancer, and that's when it's close to us. Okay. It's like if you were standing under a street light, that light is your summer sun. It's, if you were in Miami, that would be your summer sun in June. And then
so that's explaining why the sun is lower towards the horizon in the wintertime. We don't get the direct rays
because it's farther away. It's farther away. So you're standing on a street light down the road, 100 yards, whatever. There's another street light. It's farther away. It's lower in the sky. But if I was standing under that light, it would be high in the sky above me, and your light would be low in the sky. So right now, look, in June, it's hot in Miami because the sun goes right over Miami. Right. It's hot in Mexico, Southern California, because the sun's right there. But at the same time, Australia is having their winter because the sun is farther away.
Right.
Okay. If I jump forward 6 months, Australia has their summer and we have our winter because the sun is farther away. And because it's farther away, we have shorter days. We have less heat. And
that's pretty interesting.
And it makes sense. The problem is they say, well, it's because of the tilt of the earth and the spreading of the light, because we're tilted away, the light is spread out a little bit. Yeah. It travels 93 million miles and the little tilt of the earth is affecting it, ignoring the inverse square law of heat and light, all of that. It's just utter nonsense. And did you know during our winter, they tell us the sun is 3.5 million miles closer to us. Okay. But I can go out here in Connecticut when there's December 21st, look up at the sun at noon when it's at the highest point for the day, and I can barely feel the heat on my face. But in June, when the sun is 3.5 million miles farther away in the helio bullshit model, at sunrise, I can feel the heat blasting on my face. I can get a tan. I can soak up some vitamin D when the sun is literally at the farthest tilt it could possibly be. And that's because it's closer. It's closer because it's small. It's here. It's closer because it's
so the globe folks, they basically say that that's caused because of the tilt of the earth on the axis and based on the angle of the sun in the wintertime or summer. That's what they say, correct?
They say a lot of things. Why is it?
All right.
Okay. So they say that, here's the heat path of the earth. Well, what about the tilt? How is that possible? The sun, if the earth is spinning, how is that heat path like that? And if we look at the flat earth model, it works perfectly.
Yeah.
It works perfectly on a flat earth model because the sun is migrating in and out. And so as it goes around, it migrates in and out. So everything in between the tropics, everything in between these lines is the tropics because the sun is always in between here. So it never gets far away from the equator. That's why it's always warm. Okay. So check this out. If we're in the center, are we near the Arctic or the Antarctic?
We're
near the Arctic. We're in the north.
Arctic, right?
Yeah. So they're talking about the sun. Anything inside of the Tropic of Cancer is considered the Arctic area. Okay. The sun is arcing around us. You see it arcing around us?
Mm-hmm.
Anything outside of the Tropic of Capricorn, anything outside of this is near the Antarctic. And if you're out here, southern, Santiago or South Africa or southern Australia, New Zealand, or out here in Antarctica, the sun is no longer arcing around you. It's coming towards you and then arcing away from you. So it's antarcing, the Antarctic versus the Arctic.
All right. So let me ask you this. How do we explain the prolonged nights in the northern latitudes? Absolutely. It's like 90 days a night or something.
Yeah. So the sun we can only see the sun at a certain distance. So when the sun is all the way out here, when the sun is out far away from the Arctic, you can't see it never gets close enough to light these inner places. Now the app, there's a lot of gray area on the app. The app doesn't show it exactly, but I have some videos that do show night and day. Let me actually show you that. Well, actually, I'll show you that in a moment when I get out of the app. And
so I am actually confused. So what causes night and day in this model?
All right, so let's get out of the app and then I'll show you. So what causes night and day?
What causes night and day, and then what causes the seasons? Because that's where I'm kind of caught up. I see what. How do you connect?
All right, so let's say you came up to visit me here in February and it's freezing cold, and you and I decided to have a couple beers. We're sitting outside of my yard. We're 20 feet apart because of the COVIDs, and we're freezing our butts off. Okay, and so somebody comes out with a pole and holds a huge heat lamp 10 feet over your head, directly over your head. And you're like, oh, that feels really nice. That's your summer sun. I'm looking at that heat lamp going, it's lower in the sky for me, and I could barely feel the heat. I'm freezing. So then they decide to walk over to me, never lowering it. And you'll see it go lower. I'll see it come higher. And now I'm warm again because the sun is directly over me and close and high. Yours is far and low. Okay. Yeah. That's how the sun migrates 6 months in, 6 months out. It goes out to the Tropic of Capricorn, and then it turns around and comes back to the Tropic of Cancer. It just goes.
Does it with regards to the Earth? Are you saying that does it move? Does it move north south as well?
Yes, it does. So just look at it here. It's circling around to the east. Yeah, it's going east. No, it's going west. Sorry, the sun is going west. Right. Everything, sun, moon, and stars, no matter where you are on Earth, rise in the east, set in the west. Now they try to confuse you, going, well, they go counterclockwise in Australia because you're upside down. No, they go counterclockwise because you turned around. That's all. Like if I'm watching something come from my right shoulder if I'm watching the highway, cars come from my right shoulder to my left shoulder. You're on the other side of the highway. They're coming from your left shoulder to the right shoulder to your right shoulder. They're going in the same direction. You just turned around. Okay. So the sun circles around, and then I'll just jump month by month. It migrates.
It comes in closer. Okay.
Yeah. So it's
That makes sense.
It's coming back. It's on the equator, and then our summer, boom, June 18th. It's right around
days. So it is making. Is it making 24-hour rotations, which causes the night and the day? It's
Correct.
just on a different trajectory.
Correct. Well, it goes around the same. 24 hours each time. Now, people go, well, how does it speed up when it goes out here? This is a bigger circle. And that's a great question. And my answer is, if you were standing still and you had two flashlights in your hand, one you're facing on the floor 3 feet in front of you, and the other one you're facing on the floor 6 feet in front of you, then you turned around, you're making one rotation at the same rate, but those lights are going one rotation, but one of them's making a big circle, one of them's making a small circle. The optics of the sky are no way to prove the shape of the Earth.
So then what's holding the sun?
I don't think the sun that we see is a physical object at all. And and the same with the moon. But again, that's a deeper conversation. But here you go. When if you want to learn about flat Earth, every day there's a featured video here. This is how you win your 3 Bitcoins. Every day you watch the featured video for 2 weeks, and then if you think the Earth is a globe, you send me 1 proof. But before you do that, you have to hit this question mark right here. And when you hit the question mark, up come all the videos that YouTube is hiding from you. Hey, what about eclipses? What about ships over the horizon? Or what about seasons? If I hit what about seasons, up comes a playlist of videos that will fully explain way better than I did the problem with the helio-nonsensical seasons model, right? What about eclipses? You hit what about eclipses? These videos won't come up if you search for them on YouTube, but here they all are. And this is how this will explain what's not happening in the sky. Now, I heard you talk about, how it's weird that the eclipse, you think it would get bigger, but then you said they trained you with umbra, and penumbra, which is also nonsense. But the problem with
that was something I was like, hey, that's an interesting thing to bring up. I wanted an explanation on that. I didn't get it.
Yeah, no, there is no explanation because it's all nonsense. Let me get out of here. But one other thing, Brandon, you think that flat Earth is just a little group of crazy people? No, this is an ever expanding thing. If you hit the little handshake button, these are the flat earthers that are near me. Okay.
Yeah.
All of these dots are flat earthers, right? They're all across the world. And the app lets you message them. I can tap on a dot and send somebody a message, or I have it set for 50 kilometers. And within 50 kilometers, I have 228 people, and I could click on that 228 and I could send them all a message. Hey, we're having a meetup at Brandon's house. Come on all, but you have to own Hex to get in. Okay. And it's a way that we're all connecting with each other. So this is the fastest growing thing ever. And this is why I'm really happy to be talking to you, because I don't want you to walk away and go, the Earth is flat. There's so many people, by the way, I don't know if you're a fan of Jeff Berwick. He knows the Earth is not a globe, right? There's so many people out there, but this community is a really smart community, and it's growing faster and faster. And the target market for this community is every single person on Earth. Okay. Every single person on Earth. There's no other bigger target market for anything.
Well,
and the other thing is, the why does it matter? It matters so much. It takes you out of this mental prison and brings you, like, Brandon, you have your show you do. And how did that show come to be? Did somebody make it for you?
Nope.
You made it with your mind. You had an idea, you had an inspiration, and you manifested it. Okay. And so they don't want us to know the power of our mind. Our minds create our reality. They want us living in fear. We're running out of water. Nonsense. There's infinite water. We're running out of food. Baloney. You stick a seed in the ground, water falls from the sky, food grows. Okay. We're overpopulated. You can take every person in the United States and give them a half an acre in Texas. right? Right. It's all lies. They want to keep us in fear. They want us to believe that we don't have an immune system. It's insanity what's going on. And the way they get away with this is people are lost in space, spinning out of control.
All right, so let's talk. This is conjecture. You don't have the answers to these, but I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. So to make this all work, there has to be some type of governments have to be working together for some reason. Either they're in on it and they're the reason and the cause of it, or there's something else that's working together with them.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So NASA runs all of the space agencies in the world. They're all nonsense. And they, well, China just landed on Mars, right? Did you know that China landed a rover on Mars last year? Here is the only proof that China landed a rover on Mars. This was shown live on television. I don't know who the hell filmed it. Look at a shadow, too. All right. You know who laughs at that? Kyle, Cartman, and Kenny. They're all laughing at that. They're like, that's ridiculous.
Obviously, like cartoon and yeah.
Well, that's all. This is all they have. They have to show us. Okay. All of so how do you control people? You divide them. Divide. They divided us by countries. Fake. They divided us by religions, by sexes, by genders, by political parties, by vaxxed, unvaxxed. They're dividing. Right now, dividing genders. They're dividing us. And then they want us staying 6 feet apart. They want us covering our faces so we can't even communicate. It's all about division, right? The only power that anyone has over you is in your imagination. Okay, it's in your imagination. And why I'm talking. We're gonna watch this. This is Elon Musk,
right?
A fraud. By the way, you're gonna get a link in an email after this with it says Elon Musk fraud. Watch it, 5 minutes. Okay. Right. Everything he's ever said. Now, there's all different ways they fake it, but this is a fake rocket. There's no smoke. There's just a smoke coming out of the ground. And this is exactly what they showed. Edit. Now, look, it's not very high. You can kind of tell, oh, look at that. It looks pretty high. But you can tell it's not high because of the side angle. Now, look, this is going to turn off. Now it's all of a sudden it's high. And now it's going to free fall. 40,000 pounds free falling. Look at the smoke. Is this 40,000 pounds free falling? Watch the next edit. Watch this. Look at it now. Is this free falling or is this nonsense? This is nonsense. Now look how high it is all of a sudden. I did not edit this. Okay. Now this thing, the engines are going to turn on. It's going to magically spin over, right? You have some military experience. Think about this. These 3 little engines are going to flip. Now look how high it is all of a sudden, right? Now watch this. It's going to turn on. The camera's somehow going to go underneath it. It's just a movie edit. Look, somehow we're underneath it. 2 of the 3 engines are going to turn off. Now look, again, watch the smoke, watch the flames. How fast is this thing moving? And it's going to land upright with a bunch of CGI smoke. Look, smoke. Okay. This is baloney. And people believe this. Now, if you have 2 choices. This is completely fake. And so is everything SpaceX does, which unwinds to every space agency, or this is real. And there's no helping you if you think that.
So the only way to know whether or not it is or not is to be there when it happens.
Yeah, that's a problem. One, nobody's there. The other thing is, let's look at the I disagree with that statement because this is physically impossible. The edits are just ridiculous. Here is the famous space shuttle. You Google space shuttle launch, you'll find this exact video. Edit. Now watch. This thing has got to lift up 4 million pounds with superheated thrust. Now look, they show these people. These people are over 10 miles away, but they make it look like they're right there. Look, they must be right there. Okay. Have you ever seen what a tornado can do to a tree, a telephone pole, or a fence? It ties it in knots. It turns it into splinters, right? And that's 300-mile-an-hour winds, right? Round up 500 miles an hour winds, which never happens. 4 million pounds of superheated thrust, and this fence, nothing. Okay, this is a helium balloon. There's nobody on it ever. All of this fake smoke. Edit. This thing goes up, it rolls on its back because that external tank is a balloon. This is a fireworks show. All rockets curve, they go out over the Bermuda Triangle, and then they ditch them out there out of sight. Okay? There's so many things wrong with this, but one thing wrong. Oh, there's so many things wrong. Maybe I'll go a little farther. So now they are launching something. Look at the smoke trail. There is this smoke trail. And in a moment, you could ask me about the Challenger, what happened to them. Okay. Yep. And so they always tell us that the external boosters cannot be turned off once they're lit. The solid fuel boosters. Now, these things are going to be released in a second. And when they release, they still have thrust. They should shoot forward. This thing's going over 17,000 miles an hour. That's crazy. We're going to talk about that in a second. But if you watch the video with sound, you hear that you hear it at the same time you see it. Well, this thing's 30 miles downrange. If it was 20 miles downrange, how are they going sideways at that speed? If it was 20 miles downrange, you wouldn't hear that for over 90 seconds, right? Thunder and lightning, you count the miles, right? 5 seconds a mile.
Speed
difference.
To sound, yeah.
Yeah. But on the video, you hear it. And the only thing the Globe fanboys say is, oh, they edited it to make it, for the viewers so they could understand.
That's legitimate. That's legit. Why did they do that?
Yeah. Thanks for realizing that. And here's where it's worse. Now, the guys on the shuttle are filming this thing falling back to Earth. The story is this falls back to Earth. It's I think it's like 40,000 pounds empty, and it's going to burn up. Now watch right here while I'm talking. You can see a handkerchief blow by. Watch real carefully. It's going to come by in about 5 seconds. The guys on the shuttle, ready? You see it? They weren't right there. So that kind of shows you how fast this thing's going. These guys are on their way to space, somewhere between 17,000 and 25,000 miles an hour on their way up. This thing is falling back to Earth, but they're filming it out the window. How is that possible?
The only way it's possible.
This thing would go
a lot higher.
Boom.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter. This thing's falling back to Earth. It's going to burn up before it gets to these clouds, which are right there. Okay. And this thing is a balloon. It could be in the Macy's Day Parade, right? This is nonsense.
It could be that there's not enough information for us to definitively say whether or not. Now, I see what you're saying. No,
falling?
I see what you're saying. I don't have perspective though.
Yeah, they're filming it from now. Look at this. This thing has PVC pipes going down the side of it, right? Think about this. With the SR-71 spy plane,
Blackbird, yeah,
the Blackbird. So here's the SR-71, pretty slick, right? Mm-hmm. Right. Besides and this is what they went to the moon in. I'm actually looking for a different graphic. But the SR-71 can go Mach 3.2 any faster, and it rips apart. Mach 3.2, 2,193 miles per hour, any faster, and it rips apart. It also is loosely put together because it expands up to 6 inches when it gets so hot. It gets like over 500 degrees.
Right. You can't touch your hand to the glass.
This aerodynamic, beautiful piece of art can go Mach 25. Mm-hmm. It's got PVC pipes going down the side. This is not this. Look at this hunk of junk. How can this thing go 10 times faster than that?
Well, is it going 10 times faster in the atmosphere or
yes? How is a rocket going to push off of nothing? Right?
I'm saying it accelerates. If in my mind, here's the answer. This is where my head goes. Right?
Yeah.
If you're accelerating, you're not going 17,000 miles an hour until you get to a pretty tall height. At that point, air pressure and stuff. I mean, the air pressure, the molecules is what causes it to be hot, just Dave, like the SR-71.
I called you Dave. Sorry, Brandon. So have you ever been on like a super fast roller coaster or a super fast car? 0 to 200 miles an hour in 5 seconds. What does that do to you as far as G forces? Okay,
pins you back.
So if you count the length of time that the rockets are running to get it up to speed, and divide that by the 25,000 miles an hour it needs to break orbit, it's got to increase in speed something like 200 miles an hour every 5 seconds, nonstop for the entire time that it's burning. Okay? So at 10 seconds, it's going 400 miles an hour. At 15 seconds, it's going 800, whatever, 600. And it has to keep on going, accelerating. But we see, the the astronauts in there pressing buttons with their gloves on and doing stuff and drinking water. It's utter nonsense once you start seeing through it. Brandon, if we catch them lying once about being in space, then everything is a lie, right? So check this out. Yeah. They're always playing with stuff. This ball is real. It's filled with helium. Look right here. Do you see a stuffed animal? There it is. And now she's manipulating this animal. Watch again. No animal. Now it's there. They even put a little beaming thing in just to mock us. And she's playing with what's called augmented reality, right? And she's moving objects in real time. And that's what we're shown. But they have these screw ups all of the time. Here's one. These guys are always flipping their microphone around. This guy's flipping his hat around. But in the background, this guy goes floating by, way back in the background. So I zoomed in, and you can see he's on a harness. He's hanging from a wire. And the NASA fanboys go, well, that's for safety. Okay, you're in space. How's that hanging from a harness for safety? Right? And then what happens is in the script, this guy's flipping his hat around, dazzling everybody. I'm going to zoom out in a second. And in the script, he's supposed to hand his hat to the green guy, and the green guy's supposed to put the hat over on the wall. Okay. So I'm editing it back and forth here. But he accidentally moves his arm, and the green guy thinks that he's passing him the hat because the hat's not real. So watch, he moves his arm. He thinks it's the hat, and the guy grabs it and puts it away. Oops. And he's like, oh. And we watch, and they're stuttering. They're trying to recover from this. They're either using augmented contact lenses. They have a screen behind the camera.
Did you make that video?
Yeah, I took this from the original video. They took down the video, right? They took down the original video, and they do this all the time.
Sound with it or any context at all?
You know what? We got to find it. Any flat earthers out there that know where the original of this is, I'd love to have it. I was looking for it, but I haven't really looked for it recently. But
that's very like, what the heck? But I would want to hear what they were saying just to make sure.
Yeah, you should hear them. But by the way, these guys, all the astronauts, they're the dumbest guys on Earth. Have you ever heard an astronaut talk? They're so dumb. It's unbelievable. Like Don Pettit, we lost the technology to go back to the moon, and it's a painful process to build it back again, right? It's absolute utter nonsense. It's insane. And then they get caught in their wires all the time. Look, they're on harnesses, and like this guy grabs the wire right there and pulls them. Okay. All sorts of screw ups. They have CGI screw ups where everything that's floating all of a sudden glitched out, and then they quickly cut away to mission control. Okay. And they're like, well, there's cosmic rays up there that screwed up the transmission, right? They just tell cool stories all the time. Look at this guy. He becomes transparent before he goes around the corner. Watch this thing on the wall here. You can see it through his arm, right? It's all fake. It's all fake. All of it's fake. All of it's fake. Here's something we didn't talk about. This is the Go Fast rocket. It was a rocket sent up in Arizona, okay? And it went up about 73 miles. And if you hear the sound, it sounds like it hit something. It stops spinning, right? And this is also an uninterrupted feed.
Who set this up?
This was it was a Red Bull, done by Red Bull.
Oh, okay.
But the whole idea, did it hit something? I think it did. It hit some plasma or something. But more importantly, whatever the reason it stopped spinning was when all of a sudden it turns sideways and you can see the moon. There's the moon.
Yeah.
Okay. This is Arizona. If Arizona is on the top of a basketball, this rocket is a 0.5 millimeter above the basketball. New Zealand is on the bottom of the basketball. And at the time this happened, the moon was over New Zealand. How did we see the moon?
You shouldn't have been able to.
Thank you. Here's a distance thing. Illusion, France. The famous viewing spot out here is Mount Canigou, 175 miles away. According to Globe Math, from the viewer's height to Mount Canigou, the top of the mountain should be hidden by a mile of curvature. Okay, it should be a mile below the curvature. And we don't see a mountain because the light bouncing off the mountain can't push all the way through the water. Like if we're in a swimming pool 100 yards long and I drew a smiley face on the far wall, you couldn't see it. But if I had a light shining there, you'd probably see the light because it can push its brightness. But 2 days a year, when the sun lines up, on its journey in between the two tropics, it lines up with Mount Canada. All of a sudden, you can see it. The top of this mountain right there should be a mile below the curve. Now, the ballers will say, well, this is a refraction. The sun is already set. And the mountain is already over the curve, but it's floating up and coming to eye level. But somehow, this mirage is bright enough to block it. And, my answer is cool story, bro. Right? That's all they got. They got nothing. My glasses don't do anything next to Brandon's, right? Like I put the glasses on and people are like, cool.
Dude, quite literally, I'm actually jealous of yours, to be honest. So
it's not as fun.
Let me think about this real quick. So in order for the entire Earth not to be lit up by the sun, the only way for this to work is if there is a dome or plasma. No, absolutely not. There may not be a dome. Some people don't think. And again, we're speculating, but let's talk about how we see the sunset. Okay. It's very easy. Just like when you're looking down the road of streetlights, they go lower and lower and lower in the sky as they go farther and farther away. So how can we demonstrate this? If I could find my video again. So as the sun moves away, here, you know what? Let me just show this while I'm getting that video lined up. So depending on where you are, the sun, you can clearly see that it's going away. It's getting smaller and well, the size is another thing, but you can see that it's moving farther away. You have to believe that you're falling over backwards here, faster than the speed of sound. Okay. That's crazy. You're not. The sun is just moving away. It's just moving away from you, getting farther away. It's getting lower. And as it gets lower, you're looking through thicker and thicker atmosphere. When you look across the atmosphere, it's like if you were a foot under the water in a pool, you look across, you're looking through all the atmosphere. But if you look up, you're only looking through a couple inches of water. And so you can see, it's not blocking you. The water will become so dense, and it's just like the air, that it will block your view. So as the sun moves away, right, these clouds are all at the same height. It's just moving beyond these clouds. And then in 20, 30 miles, the clouds merge with the horizon, and then its sun just kind of looks like it's setting below it. So here's the experiment I did called my Flat Earth Kitchen. This line is level. You can see that it's level because we're watching it from an elevated view, from a celestial point of view. And I'm moving the sun across it. Now, this here could be mountains, could be a city skyline, it could be a cloud deck, whatever. This is, but it's opaque and the sun never goes below it. Now, I have a camera on the other end of the counter, down low, looking up. And now you can see this line. It looks like it's going down, but we know that it's a level line. And if I showed you this first, this right here is at eye level. It looks like it's at eye level, but it's way higher. It looks like the sun is going below it, but it's not. It's just, look at the line now. It's almost going straight down. And just from that short distance on my counter, the top of that thing looks like it's at eye level. Now let's compare it to a real sunset. You would think that this is the horizon, but look what's happening here. This is what I call the atmospheric deck of opacity. It's just where the atmosphere just becomes so opaque that it blocks the clouds. Compare these two. So the particles in the atmosphere are what blocks the light from reaching you when the sun's far, far away. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. And here's this one will blow your mind. This is me in Connecticut here filming a sunset. You have to do it in the winter. Super cold, super clear, no humidity. And I got my drone up as high as I can get it, and I'm watching the sun. And in 5 minutes time, it went from up here and it went down. Now, if we were spinning, it would have to keep on going at the same rate, but it didn't. It went down, 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 down. And then it slowed down and it stopped. And it sat here for 10 minutes. This is super sped up. And instead of dropping down, it disappeared into the soup of the atmosphere. Show it again right here. Mm-hmm. It never goes below. It just can't push through. It's like if you're looking through a pane of glass, no problem. Stack 10 panes of glass. Okay. 50 panes of glass, you can't see through it. Okay. It's the same thing. The atmosphere becomes too thick. And the sun itself, the brightest light, can't push through. It just disappears. I filmed this 7 different times. People go, whoa, why are you so special? How come no one else filmed it? Because no one else goes out and freezes their ass off filming a sun that looks like it's already gone, right, in the middle of the winter, right? And then goes into a post, and zooms in to see what's really going on. And the sun literally got smaller and smaller and smaller. And then it just disappeared. What's going on here? Boom.
So what's stopping you from getting a charter and doing the plane experiment?
No one's allowed to go to Antarctica. So in the app, if you click, what about Antarctica? There's a video called Sorry, Antarctica's Closed, where one of our great researchers, who's a lawyer by chance, he spent, I don't know how long, it must have been a year, researching on how to explore Antarctica. And you have to get permission from the Antarctic Treaty, whatever, from the United Nations. You have to spend all of this money, up like $200,000 in permits requests. And then a year later, they'll tell you, sorry, you can't go, and they keep your money. That's why. Because they're not going to let anyone go. Let me just jump in the app here and show you. People say, well, if Antarctica is so big, how do they hide it? How do they guard it? If we hit the little photos icon here and we go down here, you remember the Falkland War?
Yeah.
Right? That's an island like south of where is it? New Zealand. Well, all of these islands are owned by the crown. They're run by the crown, and there's military bases on all of them. And I watched a video recently of some fishermen that tried to just go as far as they could, and a destroyer or whatever, some battleship came out and literally sent a drone after them, told them to turn around immediately. They're in restricted waters. Do not go near Antarctica. They won't let you go. And this is how they guard it. That's it. It's very simple. Super simple. But if you in the app, if I hit the question mark and I say Antarctica, and I scroll down this video right here, Antarctica, sorry, we're closed. 30 minutes. It'll save you a year's worth of effort trying to figure it out yourself. And don't believe anything. Go verify. He verified it all for you. It's done. Like, you could use this as evidence in court. He did it so well.
So the best way to verify for you and anybody else would be to have a free pass to Antarctica. Is that correct?
Sure. But the problem with that is compasses don't work in Antarctica. GPS doesn't work in Antarctica. There's no place to get any food in Antarctica. It's super freaking cold, at least, most of the time. And where are you going? How are you going to do it? Now, there's a lot of stories. Like one of, again, we're speculating again. There's a story called The Iron Republic about a guy that found an opening, like right here. And he went in and he popped out. They were lost on the ship for about a month, and then they came across land. And when they got there, they saw a city. There were city lights, and they went in. There was an advanced civilization there that spoke English, and it was people that left the inner space in the 1600s because of tyranny, and they started a whole new government out here. This was in 1901. This story was written, and the guy claimed to have proof that he was there. And he talked about the governmental systems. They have advanced government, a whole different society, advanced technology. And this was in the 1800s, 1901. Okay. So if we lived here in this inner space, what would we call this extra land? Another word for land is
Outer
territory.
space.
Well, yeah. And extra territory. Yeah. So if you lived there and you came to visit, you'd be an extraterrestrial from outer space.
Gotcha.
Not coming from trillions of miles away. Let's talk about that for a second. The closest star to Earth. The closest star to Earth. You might be the only one that can actually get this because you're good with numbers. The closest star to Earth is 4.5 light years away, or 25 trillion miles away. Okay. Mm-hmm. So if I'm traveling at a mile per second, right? A mile per second. That's like 3,600 miles per hour. Okay. A mile per second. and I went for 1 trillion seconds, I'd gone 1 trillion miles, right? Mile per second, 1 trillion seconds, 1 trillion miles. So you and I are in a spaceship, and we're heading towards Alpha Centauri. We're traveling a mile a second for 1 trillion seconds. How long is 1 trillion seconds?
We would never get there in millions of lifetimes, probably.
Yeah, well, it's a trillion. A
lifetimes.
trillion seconds is 31,000 years. Okay,
Yeah, that's not.
Okay, so and in 31,000 years, we've only gone 1/25th of the way to the closest star. Okay, and we're supposed to believe that aliens are coming from a planet circling a star where all of the other stars are magnitudes farther, and then they come here and crash in Roswell. This is all stuff to turn your mind into gravy. Okay.
What about meteorites, asteroids? How do you guys explain that type of stuff? How do you talk about that?
Yeah. So there are no asteroid impacts. Those things that we see, the crater in Arizona, these are bubbles that come up through the earth. They're either plasma vents. Just Google methane craters in Alaska, in Russia, Siberia. There's all of this stuff where stuff bubbles up out of the earth and creates these craters. It could have been, a plasma strike. And people have done experiments where we take electricity and plasma hits the ground and it makes the exact same craters, right? Why don't the craters, like we see, like in Russia, the dashboard cam sees a meteor coming in. They're always coming in at these sharp angles. Well, every hole we see is perfectly round. All the craters on the moon are perfectly round. How come none of them hit at an angle and make a gash? Okay. It's nonsense. And meteor showers, right? They tell us that we're going through a comet's trail where there's dust. But every year on second or third week in August, we have the Perseus meteor shower. We're 4.5 billion miles from where we were last year. What is that trail following us?
So what is that you see in the sky then?
They're electrical. It's all electrical. These are electrical things that we're seeing. What are they exactly? Look up what sprites are. These are electrical events that are happening. If they were asteroid, grains of sand coming in, we'd occasionally, or quite often, see an asteroid shoot up from the horizon, right? Because they're skimming across the ball from all different directions. No one ever sees one come up. They all go down. None of them shoot up from the horizon. That makes no sense on a ball. It makes perfect sense on a flat Earth.
So Shoemaker Levy 9.
Nonsense.
The comet.
It's a light in the sky. I saw it. It wasn't as bright. I was excited to see this thing. I even saw it when Halley's Comet came around. I couldn't see it. I thought I was going to be so excited. These are luminaries within the sky, right? These things that we see, as I proved before, the inverse square law of light, the reflectiveness of Jupiter, make no sense. Mars, you can see Mars, the same thing with the reflectiveness of Mars. But when we take our consumer optics and zoom in, we see stuff like this. We don't see the nonsense that NASA gives us, right? NASA and Disney work very close together. NASA and Disney, right? Why would NASA and Disney work so close together? Why did all of the guys, just before the moon landing in 1969, why was trying to find the image? Of course, I can't find it. Why were Disney and NASA and here we go, and movie directors? Why were they all together in Hollywood just before the moon landings? Stanley Kubrick, right? Why were they all together? Because it was a Hollywood production.
So, all right. So let's talk about communication. So cell phone technology can just be explained by towers, right?
Towers and undersea cables. Absolutely.
Undersea cables. So out of curiosity, do you believe, do satellites exist?
No. Well,
okay.
So here's the thing. Satellites, you have to remember, we're corkscrewing through an infinite vacuum, and somehow a satellite can stay geostationary over a certain spot on the land, right? Where we're corkscrewing, swirling, turning, going around the sun, but that satellite always just mirrors a spot on the Earth. That is insanity, right? Even if the Earth was just spinning, how is it going to do that, right? And the whole Lagrange point halfway between the sun and the moon, the Earth, and it finds where the gravity's not pulling either way. We're corkscrewing through a space vacuum. Nonsense, right? Here are the undersea cables, but there should be a cable from Santiago to Australia, but instead it goes all the way up and around and down. Okay. Let me ask you a question.
Mhm.
If we're on a ball, the equator's right at the halfway point, and you want to fly from any northern location above the equator to any other northern
You
location,
go over top.
would you ever cross the equator?
No.
Okay. How about from a southern location to another southern location? Would you ever cross the equator?
No need.
Okay. Well, let's look at some flights.
Mhm.
Here's a flight from Auckland to Lima, Peru, and it goes all the way up to Los Angeles and all the way down. When everyone on the plane wants to go here, no need to go pick up passengers here. No need. This is a long, I think this is longer, but it's about the same. But if you look at it on a flat Earth map, bam, 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 straight line, right?
Okay.
But never are two flights from the north, an origin and destination in north. Never ever does one of them cross the equator, right? But there's plenty that do, the far southern ones do cross the equator twice. Makes absolutely no sense.
Why? Okay. So out of curiosity, and I'm not a man-made climate change type of person. If there is, I don't think it.
Wait. Hold on. Don't question
Well,
climate change on YouTube. Be careful what you say.
Oh, well, I'll probably jack that up. All right. So out of curiosity, based on your model, based how the sun operates, why do we have such fluctuations in temperatures? Is that just based off the radiation that's coming off the sun?
Think about my my heat lamp thing. We're outside. A heat lamp near you heats you up, right?
Mhm.
And a heat lamp far away from you doesn't heat you up. The sun is just moving, heating up stuff in between the tropics. And when it gets to the inner, it's heating up the north a little bit. When it gets to the outer, it's heating up the outer south a little bit.
Wouldn't we have more consistency though, climatologically?
So we do have a lot of consistency. Like in the summer, it's freaking hot here. In the winter, it's freaking cold here. Okay, every year it's pretty much the same. And now there is some climate change happening, but that's for numerous other reasons. But where's I going with that? So if the ball is tilted 6 months apart, the same northern latitude should have the same weather as the southern latitude at the equal southern latitude, right? 60 degrees north should have the same plants, animals, and weather that 60 degrees south has 6 months later, right? Because we're, here's the sun, we're tilted towards it, and then, 6 months later, it's tilted towards it over here. Well, that's not the case. At like 60 degrees south, there's nothing. There's no animals. There's nothing. There's very little. But 60 degrees north, there's buffalo, there's bison, there's people, there's plants. But south, there's nothing. Maybe it's a little farther than that, whatever the number is.
Sorry, let me ask you this. All right. So I think I heard this correctly, or I'm assuming there's no such thing as space.
Well, what is space? It appears to be water. We think that we are inside, that we're surrounded by water. There's water, primary water below us and above us, right? And if you look at NASA, everything they talk about space is done in nautical terms: the Sea of Tranquility, ships, dockings, all of this stuff. It all seems like there's water. And if you watch like any of the nighttime SpaceX launches where they're curving away, it looks like they're skimming across water, leaving a wake. Okay, watch some of that stuff. Just put spaceship. I think they're on the app under. I'm not sure where they are in the app, but it looks like water.
Okay.
Don't know. We're not there. Can't reach it.
Okay. And then so with amateur folks, stargazers, etc. Apart from, I assume you think the Hubble Space Telescope is probably like Disney-esque, assuming.
The Hubble Space Telescope is actually made from a can of beans and a soda can.
Okay, so I'm right. Okay, well, it's worse than Disney.
Yeah, but here's the thing. We talked to one of our guys talked to one of the primary guys on Hubble, right? Look.
Yeah.
Del Monte beans, a Red Bull wrapped in tinfoil with a model airplane wheel on it and a cardboard lid. I mean, this thing has never turned around and looked at the Earth, never turned around and looked at the moon, right? Somehow it's floating in space where the temperatures, vary 500 degrees. Tell me how that works. And it's sending images back. So we talked to one of the main guy one of the main guys that's in the program, and he admitted he's never gotten a direct feed from it, right? But what he has gotten a direct feed from is SOFIA. SOFIA is a telescope mounted in a 747 that flies at high altitude. They open up the hatch and it takes some pictures. And the pictures that are coming from SOFIA look like the ones coming from Hubble.
What are they taking a picture of? What if it's not celestial bodies, electro? What are we looking at?
Yeah, great question.
Yeah.
Anything that we can't touch or see, like, is the moon a sphere? Do you know that it's a sphere?
I don't know because I haven't been on it.
It looks like a sphere to me.
It does.
Okay, but let's look at that. I'm going to show you 4 moons, and then we're going to pick them up. But tell me, I'm not going to tell you how many. Is this one a sphere? Quick.
It looks like one.
All right, it does, but it's a half a sphere, kind of
Right.
like hard. How about this one? Is this one a sphere?
Same. It looks like it.
It looks like it. But since we can't touch it or see it, it's not a sphere. It's flat.
Gotcha.
Okay. How about this one? Sphere?
Same thing. That would be the most suspect one, but again, same thing. It looks
Again, but it's concave.
right.
It's a cup, right? Sphere?
Right.
Right. So again, if you can't touch it and measure it, you don't know. And then people say, well, the other planets around. I don't believe there's other planets. I believe that they're luminaries within our system. They used to be called wandering stars, but the lights in my ceiling don't dictate the shape of my floor. The pool balls on a pool table don't dictate the shape of the table. So looking up into the sky is no way to prove that the Earth is the shape of the Earth, right? So
is water deeper? Is it, in terms of, you guys call this a theory? Is that, I mean, how do you describe what this is?
the flat Earth theory, the globe is a theory. The globe is a
No, I'm just asking. I'm not asking.
Yeah.
I'm just, how do you talk about it?
Yeah, we talk about it as I like to talk about it as the globe lie, right? Do I think the Earth is flat? 100%.
Mhm.
Can I prove that it's flat? I can show you many, many examples that would say that it's flat, but could it be something else possible? But is the Earth a sphere spinning in an infinite space vacuum that breaks all the laws of thermodynamics? Absolutely not. That's scientifically provable, right? Gravity supposedly holds on to our water, holds on to our air, right? But I could take a straw and suck water and air up and away from gravity with zero effort. A little bit of low pressure in my mouth and lungs, bam, the water just lifts up. But the vacuum of space can't suck the air away. And they go, well, it's a gradient, it gets thinner and thinner and thinner until there's no air. So with that logic, I could take a shoebox in a room and the shoebox has air in it. And then I could suck all the air out of the room, but gravity will hold the air in the shoebox up to the top of the box. That's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And again, if you can't touch it and measure it yourself, you can't clearly say, what it is, what shape it is, what size it is. Here, watch this. Are these tables the same dimensions with same aspect ratio?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they don't look it, but you just guessed it because you kind of know my style.
I've seen it before, but yeah,
you've seen
correct.
it.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but your eyes see it differently. So again,
Right.
Until you can touch it, you can't do it. I meant to show you this one before. They got a fresh lemon on the space station. Watch, it's augmented reality. It's going right through his hand. This is a screw up, and they quickly took that video down.
Yeah. Like I'm super on board with trying to figure out what the truth is. And if I ultimately don't know, and I've told folks that. So the thing is though, I have to, it's gotta be pretty concrete for me. I got to have context. I need to see with my own eyes. You know how that goes.
No, I got you. And you can take these experiments. You can go out and zoom in on things. You can do the math, do the curve calculator. I did the curve calculator, And there's some globe trolls out there and go, well, the curve calculator is wrong. The scientifically agreed upon curve calculator is wrong. It's only half that distance. Okay, I don't need it because I'm seeing things that should be under 60 feet of curvature. So they're saying, okay, 30 feet, fine. I'm still seeing it. I'm still seeing a 10-foot high buoy that should be behind 60 feet of curvature. I still see it. So it doesn't matter. There's nothing they can do. It's so far out of whack.
So what about like Einstein relativity?
Yeah,
Because that's a big one, right?
Einstein no, it's not. So Einstein, they basically took credit for all of Tesla's work. He was just put in there to they had to put relativity in there because they couldn't prove their heliocentric Big Bang theory. So they put Einstein in there, and it's just garbage. Once you actually look into what Einstein did, besides marry his cousin, they
gave him the outcome and said, "We need you to prove this outcome."
Absolutely, they told him he was 100% a puppet, propped up for the people just to believe their nonsense. You know who started who started NASA?
I don't.
Werner von Braun. He was a Nazi rocket scientist.
Oh yeah, that guy.
So that's the story. Werner von Braun was a Hollywood actor, right? He wrote a book called Project Mars in 1957 about the group of people that went to Mars and started a civilization on Mars. And this is the book. Okay.
Yeah.
And that group was run by a guy. The colony on Mars was run by a guy named, you want to guess? Elon. Run by a guy named Elon. Here's the Elon Musk's rocket that he wants to go to Mars. And a couple months ago, he tweeted, I want to redesign the rocket and make it pointier. They're just rubbing it in our faces.
Yeah.
Rubbing it in our faces, right? NASA, 2 photos over 2 years apart. Now, like we found that there's a magnetic
exactly
core.
The same. It shouldn't be exactly the same.
They say they saw the Northern Lights. That's how they know there's a magnetic core. Look at this. I can do that in Microsoft Word. I don't even need Photoshop. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So have you been contacted by any type of government officials or anything of that nature? Have they
not yet. But when you come, bring coffee. Bring actually like a chai latte.
Do you fear for your safety?
I do not at all. Because I understand how this world works, and I understand that they want us to be in fear. Because if you're in fear, you'll bring exactly what you're in fear of.
Well, your best insurance policy is probably what you're doing right now, regardless.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for being out in the open. I used to be kind of hidden, but then one day Jim Fetzer outed me unknowingly, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me. So I'm thrilled.
Dude, I've really enjoyed this conversation, man. I mean, legitimately.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your openness, and let's talk about why the lie, right? They're hiding free energy. They're hiding the creator, right? I don't know your view on. Well,
that's what I was asking. What's your view on all that?
Yeah. So before this, I was a best word for me was an atheist. I didn't believe anything, and when people mentioned the Bible, the Quran, the whatever, I'd be like, "Oh, religious fanatic," and I just dismiss everything they said. Right. But once I understand that this place is intelligently designed, I have no choice but to understand that there's a creator. Okay. And that's where I leave it. The Christians get really mad at me right here. I go, now that I've shown you there's a creator, you go figure it out and have whatever your relationship is with the creator. That's your own journey. Okay.
So you're basically saying publicly that there's intelligent design involved here. That's what you're saying.
It's not a theory. Look at the earth. It's ridiculous. I mean, do you believe that lightning struck and the pond scum turned into a monkey and turned into you?
I don't believe that at all.
Okay.
Zero.
All right. Yeah. So they're hiding that we are at the center of creation. We're not on a speck flying through an infinite universe where an asteroid could take us out at any moment, or we're running out of resources. All of that is nonsense. All of it. When we're at the center of creation, we're protected. We're here with a creator that created this place for us. And I believe that the real currency of this world isn't crypto. It isn't cash. It's our souls. And the evil ones want our souls. These evil people want our souls, and they're trying to fish it away with the soul lure system.
I didn't really I don't think I got a solid answer from you about this. I was curious about this, and it wasn't on purpose. I think we just went off, but At what point, I ask you, at what point did this kind of like, did the governments take control of the narrative, and like, why did they do that? Like, where in history did this happen?
So history is all a lie. Have you come across Tartaria yet?
No, I have not.
So there was a worldwide civilization, advanced civilization here that was here through the 1800s.
What were they called?
It was Tartaria.
Okay.
Again, in the app, if you hit the web button, the one that looks like a spider web, and then it says Mud Floods Tartaria, start watching those videos, right? Watch the latest John Levy video, Jonlevi. I believe it's at the top of that list right now. He does these 20-minute videos showing that all of our history is a lie. There's stuff, so much stuff buried underneath our cities. Like roads are going across the tops of buildings and we don't even know it. Okay. And so our entire history is a lie. So when they tell you, oh, Copernicus and all these stuff, I don't even know if any of these guys existed, right? This is all just made up stories. Like none of these guys, these could all be just made up nonsense because there was an advanced civilization here 150 years ago. Okay. And so when did they make up the lie? Well, I started interviewing this woman, Ruth, 102 years old, back in February of 2020. And I was interviewing her about the World's Fairs. That was part of the takeover. The World's Fairs were from the old world. And she was telling me about the lights and everything. And her memory was so good. I said, what did they teach you in elementary school? I asked her where she went. She knew school, a teacher, everything. She knew everything. She went to Hamden, Connecticut, public school. And she goes, they taught me the earth was flat. And I said, and then they changed it a few years later. And, I just kind of went with it. And then when I told her the earth is flat and I explained the deception, she started crying. It was an amazing moment for this woman who's still alive today, 104. So in the 1920s, they were teaching flat earth here in America in public schools. That's 100 years ago. 100 years ago, everyone knew. And then these wars, World War I, World War II, are part of the reset.
Have you been able to verify that any other place, any curriculum?
Yes. We found newspaper articles from the early 1900s from the New York Journal, which I believe is the New York Times now, that said articles about teachers being persecuted for trying to teach heliocentrism. We found a woman that said lived in Croatia. She said in Croatia, they taught flat earth all the way through the 1930s in all of their schools. And there's still places in the world right now that teach flat earth.
So this is kind of in my mind, like just putting myself in your shoes and your perspective. That was probably also about the same time that they started removing God from schools as well. Is that correct?
Well, they removed it when I was a kid. We had the Pledge of Allegiance and God was removed like in the 60s, I think, maybe the 60s and 70s. So yeah, separation from the creator, from God. They look what, it's incredible what they've done. This is all about control. It's about controlling us. And so before I forget, how are the ways that they control us? And the two ways are: one, the globe lie, make us feel insignificant and scared, make us believe that we're running out of resources, make us believe that there's no more, put us in a prison that we can't even see, limit our thoughts from manifesting our reality, right? If you live in fear and you think that there's less and there's not enough and there's lack, you're not even going to dream big. Dream big. Don't dream big. Don't live big. Okay. They don't want us dreaming big. They want us separated and scared. The other way they control us is with monopoly money. Our money is monopoly money. It's the same color, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100. They're all the same color. And in the game of Monopoly, it says, if you run out of the bank runs out of money, just get a pad of paper and write some more money down and keep on playing. Right. Well, that's the scam with money. The governments don't need money. NASA doesn't need money. These controllers don't need money. They need money for us to be begging for it. Us, money is most people's God, right? They want us, just getting by, just having enough. And that's how they control us with money. That's why, we're into crypto. And a lot of people the people that say, what difference does flat earth make? They're the same ones that say, what difference, crypto's a scam. Crypto's government run. Yeah, some of crypto is government run, right? The crypto that they want to bring us to but they're like, well, unless it's backed on gold or something, then it's not backed on anything. Well, that's not true, as you know. Everybody go to his channel, subscribe, watch his videos, listen to how he explains what crypto is. Does a way better job than I do. Crypto is immutable. Is it immutable? Is that the right word?
Correct. It's an immutable ledger. Yep.
It's a mutable ledger that they can't inflate. They can't control. Right. They can't do anything, you know, and the one that you and I are into is Hex. And I advise people, watch your channel, watch Rags to Riches and listen about Hex, learn about Hex. And by the way, Robbie Davidson, Celebrate Truth, is in the chat. He just made a video about Richard Hart, who I assume you're a big fan of.
Yeah, he's a good guy, it seems like.
Yeah, he's a good guy, and he's the one that created Hex. And I advise people to watch that. And learn about this stuff. And here's the way I look at it. People are like, well, you know, what are you going to do when the power goes out and everything? I'm like, what are you going to do when the power goes out? Right? Because our Hex is probably safer than the money that's going to be in these defunct institutes that you have. So my answer is, you know, you gotta look into this stuff and learn about it. And if all of my crypto went to zero, which is an impossibility, my life doesn't change at all. But as you know, I assume the name of your channel is because of your crypto holdings.
Well, I'm trying to get there, my friend.
How about this?
It's going to be a Rags. Oh, look at that.
This is my Richard Hart backup. This is the flat Earth version of Richard Hart. I got my
I'm going to have my glasses spinning in the background.
My spinning clock. Yeah, you need spinning glasses. So
I'm going to take 5 questions from chat.
Oh,
and this
please.
is a little bit of a delay. So I'm going to take 5 questions here, and I will shout you out for the man, the myth, the legend, David here. So we'll wait for those questions to come on in. All right. All right. We need some questions, chat. And it might be way delayed.
Yeah, it's probably like 30 seconds.
Somebody said Henry Kissinger is still alive. Explain that.
Yeah, I can't explain that. Well, yeah, I could, but not on YouTube.
All right. So crypto RNR. How did you start with your research? Thanks for your work, David.
How did I start with my research? I started by doing a conspiracy podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, where we were looking at, you know what got me into conspiracies was money. I said, what is money? And I watched some videos on money, and then I kind of got into the IRS, and I'm like, wow, they're a private bank, and money doesn't make any sense. And I was like, just talking about it more. And then we started this podcast, and then I started looking at all these crazy events that are happening around the world. And then Flat Earth was thrown at me, and everybody knows the story. I banned anyone that even suggests I look into it because it's so stupid. We know sticks and shadows, day and night, sunsets, you know, blah, blah, blah. But then I went in to disprove it. And I've been researching this since 2015, every single day, every waking moment.
Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Douglas Peach says, do you believe that this could be a simulation?
Well, so that's a great question. And, you know, when I first heard about simulation theory, I'm like, oh, that's crazy. This is what I call it, and I don't even know what it means, a physical simulation, right? Because if I was here, if you were with me, I could punch you in the shoulder and it would hurt. That's right. Physical, okay? So we're in this physical reality. I don't believe this is the beginning or the end. This is a school. We're here to learn and expand the mind of the creator. We're part of the creator. It's not different from us. We are part of the creator, in my opinion, okay? Right? And so we're here in this realm, experiencing this world, and they want to keep us in fear, afraid, attacking. Everyone's like systemic racism. Systemic racism doesn't exist. If everybody just helped the person to the left or to the right or both, this world.
I'm going to agree with you publicly. Systemic racism does not exist.
It does not exist. It's ridiculous. It's all made up on the news, but they want people just to believe it. They want people to be afraid of each other. And they're making up all sorts of boogeymen, all different colors, shapes, and sizes.
Awesome. All right. Charles Wolf at Brandon. Is it safe to tell people you are flat tard now? Like,
no,
us?
Don't say that. You know, what you are is you got questions about the globe. Just don't say you're a flat earther. You don't have to do that.
No. I'm not. What I will say is Charles, it's important to know that every oak tree starts with a seed, right? That's what's important to know. All right, next up.
Just one other question before you get to that is when we're done, try to come up with one proof of the globe for the 3 Bitcoins. And then when you can't, you have to ask yourself why. All right, go ahead.
Okay, that's fair. All right, let's check out here.
Who runs the world?
If you jump onto an airplane and fly west, this is from Jurgen Wolf, you'll end up in the same place. How do you explain that? Well,
Yeah, I
pretty explainable.
Yeah, because when you're flying west, you're going in a circle. Get a magnet, put it on a table, put a compass down on it, and try to push that compass west. That compass is going to make an equidistant circle around the pole, around the magnet. If you were on a globe, let's pretend you live on a globe, you're 1 mile from the North Pole. Your right arm is pointing towards the North Pole. West is in front of you. I'm going to walk west, but I have to keep turning to make sure my finger points at that North Pole. 3.14 miles later, I'm right back to where I started. Now, on a flat Earth, same thing. Okay? It's a circle. West is not a straight line. West is a circle. East is a circle. Next.
All right. Go ahead. Are you done?
Yeah.
Could the Earth be another shape rather than flat or a sphere? Why or why not? And that's from 313 Smalls.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's not a sphere because
it's a hexagon.
It could be a hexagon. We can see too far. Water lays flat, testably, measurably, scientifically, provably flat. We've done it with lasers, mirror flashes, microwaves. I just put a video on the app the other day about this microwaves that went, I forget how far it was. So, and somebody contacted the microwave company. They said that these towers have to be in line sight of each other, but they went from 2 different islands where there should have been miles of curvature between them, but there wasn't. So they're in line of sight. It's not curving over the Earth. Sonar, a submarine at the bottom of the ocean on the abyssal plain could see another submarine over 100 miles away. There would be a mountain of dirt in between them over a mile high. So you'd have to believe that sonar climbs over, dives down, hits the submarine, bounces back, comes back, and that's how they see it. Nonsense. There'd be a wall of dirt in front of them.
Love it. All right. Everybody wants to know. Everybody wants to know if I am convinced. Guys, I'm telling you, I talked to David because I like talking to people with different opinions. And there's anything that I know. Here's what I know. I don't trust the media at all. Every single time I see a truther out there, an earth truther, what do you call yourself again?
I call myself a flat tard.
A flat tard. Every single time you see flat tards on TV, they get just beat up by these people that won't talk to them. They won't ask questions. They look down on them. They sneer. They just talk. It's disgusting. It's the same type of stuff. And I'm willing to give anybody a platform, if for nothing else, to rub it in those people's faces. So here's the thing. When you ask how come we don't see the sun? Look at this picture. This is a light on a wall, and I turned it over. So this light can't even light up the whole wall. Yeah. And there's not even atmosphere to block it. Over distance, you have that thickness of the atmosphere, so you can't even see the light. And as I showed you with my flat Earth kitchen, it just goes beyond that density barrier, that atmospheric deck of opacity. The light can't even light up the whole wall. Yeah. Well, dude, you know what? I think we're going to go ahead and cut it short here, man. We're going to turn us off. Dude, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. I'm excited to have people watch this and just for nothing else to get a different opinion on things. And I appreciate you.
And Brandon, get the app and
already downloaded it
and watch the video each day. Each day you'll get a little push notification. Make sure you activate that you allow push notifications. And then every morning it's at 8:01 Eastern. You'll get a notification that there's a new video. I do short ones during the week. So while you're having your breakfast, just watch your video. And then you'll start to go, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And you'll learn more things. And then the archive videos are right next to that. You can go back for 3 years, endless videos, frequently asked questions, and just learn a little bit each day. Okay. Yeah. And there's some, under the web button, there's some documentaries like, hey, if you want to kick back and clear your mind and you're tired of looking at charts all day, don't watch a Netflix movie. Watch a movie that's on the app. There's full-length movies that are amazing that you can watch again and again and again. They're that good. And your mind will expand. Your mind will start thinking. Synapses will start going off. Your soul knows the truth of this world. Your mind has been captured by the government. The govern, control meant the mind. Okay. They're controlling your mind. The news is steering your mind north, east, west, south. The news is meant to steer you and control you. Okay. And this is like, why does flat earth matter? Because it opens up your mind. It you take back your power, and then you start seeing this world for what it is and the power that you have, and you take back your power. And this world is amazing. When you take back your power, you're able to manifest things amazingly. Okay. Amazing things. So Brandon, from what I've seen, I've watched, I don't know, dozens and dozens of your videos. You're a funny guy. You're positive. You laugh at people. You tell people, don't subscribe. Go away. You don't like the show? Well, don't come back for the next one. All right. Yep. I mean, rather than other people, other people just get upset, there's nothing to get upset at. There's nothing to be afraid of.
Yep.
And that's what flat earth teaches you. And again, the way they control us with the globe lie and the fake money. Well, crypto, the right crypto is a way out of that. And understanding that you're at the center of creation is the most important lesson of all.
And very important there's a lot of Dave's folks in here that may not know a lot about crypto. I point this out every time. We will teach you everything that you need to know at no cost to you.
Yeah.
All you have to do is show up. We've got Telegram channels. We don't have any paid groups. We don't have any signals. Just show up, ask questions. We'll insult you. We'll make fun of you. We'll beat you up a little bit, but we'll get you the answers that you need.
Yeah. And listen, just learn about it and don't invest. Don't invest in crypto. Just learn about it. So if one day you go, you know what? I think I need to get into this crypto thing. At least you'll know something.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Dave, thank you so much. Chat, as always, do not like, do not comment, do not subscribe. David, go ahead.
One more thing. The last thing is, anybody listening, any other crypto channels, any channel, if you have a show with a decent audience, have me on, especially if you think flat earth is stupid. Have me on. Help me educate your audience. Help me show your audience doors that they didn't know were there. Okay. And you can find me at flatearthdave.com. I got a link right there that says book Dave. Ask you a couple questions. We start a dialogue, and we can book a show. flatearthdave.com.
Thank you so much, Dave. You have a good evening.